welcome to the Pitch Track Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats. I'm here with Donald. Rob got called into work, but that is a nice looking one. That's the old logo too.
That's the old logo, baby.
That is the most limited edition coffee mug I think that was ever made.
Right, and we need to make it unlimited.
Yep.
So there you go. That's a segue. Hit that sub button. Hit that like button. Get those subs up, and then we'll maybe get a cup for you.
Yes. We'll definitely got to be working on some merch coming up soon. Let's see how the postseason goes. Maybe we'll do some giveaways and shit like that. I do want to celebrate with the subs we've been getting. We are sitting right now at 728, so we are on our way to 800. So let's get that family growing. But listen, on a more of a, I'm going to say a more somber note, we did see the news that DJ LeMahieu did go on the IL. This was a couple days ago, but it was right after our show where they made the moves on Monday. And Jason Dominguez was called up, which is not somber. That's freaking awesome. It's what we were waiting for. But there's also the narrative now that this might be the last we see of DJ LeMahieu. Are they going to bring him back? Are they going to buy him out in the off season? Like what do they do with DJ LeMahieu? Because he's been a good soldier. He's been a good Yankee. He's kept his head down. He doesn't cause controversy. He doesn't sit in front of the mic saying, "Woe is me." Doesn't make excuses for himself. He just tries to keep his head down and keep working. I don't see a road where he does come back this year. But I do believe that he would be back next year. What do you think about the whole situation? Because it was kind of odd when they, to make room for Jason Dominguez, they had to have this IL stint.
Do you think he's actually going to come back next season?
I do. I think the Yankees like it. You know how they're loyal to their vets. So it's I can see that happening. It's not like a Donaldson where it was very short-lived, where they eat the money. I think they're in such favor of him, of LeMahieu. I think they give him a chance to redeem himself.
I'm just not sure if the math and the playing time adds up. I mean, he's 36 years old. He's on his last. After this year, he's got 2 years left of his deal and $15 million a year. I think this is it. I think this is it. I don't doubt that the Yankees would try and exhaust a way in which to get something out of him, but I just don't see how that would make sense. He's not been a productive player for a couple of years now. He was one of the league worst offensive contributors this year. I'm not sure where the upside is. You've got an Oswaldo Cabrera who does his job in terms of versatility, and he gives you a slightly better bat now because they're at different stages in their career. I think this is it for DJ LeMahieu, and I think what this injury was really just an opportunity to
make some moves,
to say goodbye to him without having the indignity of being DFA'd. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. I think it was kind of like an injury. Maybe he does have a slight injury, but there was no mention of this injury last week or the week before. But apparently he's been having this for a long time. If that's the case, then he probably should have been DFA'd much earlier or gone on the injury reserve much earlier. That's what's kind of shady about the Yankee organization, man. Like, you don't really know what's going on. So this has just come out of nowhere. So apparently he was hurt all the way through, right? And then he was healthy. So the Yankees forced him back in, played him every day, and apparently he's been hurt the whole time. That's what just doesn't really add up to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of a big deal this injury is, but I think really what it was an opportunity to make some moves on the roster, get Dominguez up, and I think this is it. I think this is it.
No, and what makes it worse for me is I actually do feel I sympathize with LeMahieu because he wants to be out there, he wants to contribute, he wants to be a part of the team's success, but with his injuries and it's being mimicked in the chat, it's something that we've all said and how we felt. The injuries and his age just caught up too quick, where he didn't have time to make the necessary adjustments. And I'm going to use it's a totally different position, but I'm going to use Sabathia as an example. He had time to make the adjustments as he was aging, and really kind of reinvent himself in that position. DJ just has not had that opportunity, as much as the Yankees did keep playing him. It really is a shame because
right. I'll stop you there because it is so much different than being a pitcher to a position player.
That's why I said there's two different positions.
Well, because it's two different skill sets, and most importantly, if you lose the bat speed and you lose that eye at the plate where you can generate the bat speed to have to hit the ball with any kind of authority, once you miss that, you're not getting that back because bat speed doesn't come back. All the time in the gym, all the time rehabbing just doesn't cure bat speed. So that's why once you're 36, 37, 38, you're just not the same player offensively. That's just what happens. So that's why I don't think it's the same thing. If you're a pitcher, you can change from being more of a power pitcher to a finesse pitcher. That can happen, as we saw with CC Sabathia. We've seen that over the years with different pitchers, but it's different offensively. Once you lose that bat speed, it's almost impossible to get it back because Father Time is undefeated, as they say, and that's what's happened with DJ LeMahieu. It's just the fact he's 36 and all the injuries, all the time away from the field, has basically meant that he is not the same hitter anymore, and it's not going to come back. I don't think. What happened in his hottest streak? Like he had a couple of hits for that was it, and we were there for one of them in person. But nothing really of significance happened with DJ LeMahieu this year. He's just worn down, and I do like the fact that you're being respectful to him because I think he deserves a lot of respect. He is not a bad dude. He's a good dude. He tries extremely hard. He works extremely hard. He's a good locker room guy. And for a couple of years, he was one of the best contact hitters in the game, right? And that is not hyperbolic because he's one of the only players to ever win a batting title in multiple divisions, American League and the National League. So he deserves credit for that. And he was great for us for a 2 or 3 year stretch. But I think it's just time, and that's okay. It happens. There's some great players in the past where it just happens, and you just have to move on. If the Yankees can get rid of A-Rod unceremoniously and force him to retire, and he did a hell of a lot more than DJ LeMahieu has for the Yankees, so we can let DJ go.
Yeah, it's like you said, the batting title in each league. The utility player Gold Glove when they created that to be the first recipient in the AL for the utility Gold Glove. I think it's only right to put a little respect on his name for what he's done in his career. It's just it's sad to see. It's not like he's a big guy like a Stanton where their body just breaks down. He was one of those. You would have expected him to at least have some good stretches throughout a season as he got older, although may not be as dominant. So that's what kind of bothers me about the whole thing. And I've gotten on DJ a lot, but it's not for a lack of respect for his game and his talents. He's not helping the team anymore, and it's time to let go. I just don't think going into the next season that they will.
That'll be interesting. But they've still
It's going to
got
be interesting to watch how this
But they've
all
still got
unfolds.
Birdie. That's the thing, though. I just don't see where it fits because they've still got Birdie under contract next year.
Yeah,
I assume that they might consider him. They got Oswaldo Cabrera. They've also got Peraza, who the Yankees hate, but he is a better player now than DJ LeMahieu is. So those are options already off the bat that I would consider probably upside over DJ LeMahieu because, well, first of all, Birdie has still got elite speed and he's still got contact ability. Plus, he's excellent defensively. Peraza, for some reason, the Yankees hate him despite being one of our top
yeah,
prospects and playing great when we played him for a week or so, a month or two ago. So I want those guys to get opportunities. DJ LeMahieu would just be taking up space, and then of course we got Oswaldo Cabrera, who can play in multiple positions and hit pretty well from the left side. I think those guys are options that you want to consider more than DJ now at this stage because DJ just gave us nothing. I mean, his stat line was just totally useless. Let's call it what it is. 204 batting average, 269 and OBP 259, just nothing. 7 extra base hits and 228 plate appearances. One of the worst hitters in baseball since returning from the non-displaced fracture in his right foot. And that's what it is. It's his foot that's done this to him. And it's a shame. But it's over. It's absolutely over. It's been over. Me and Rob have been saying it. It's been over for a long time. And the Yankees were just slow on the uptake.
Yeah, it's it was like they were determined to get him involved in every game when he was available. But a lot of the success early in the year is when he wasn't playing, and we had Cabrera on a more of a regular basis. Yeah, like it's just I'm curious to see how this all unfolds. Before we do move on and start commenting on yesterday's game, do want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. First of all, Anthony Garcia, we'll lead off with you. Happy birthday, my guy. Hope you do enjoy your day. Happy birthday, Anthony. Do want to say what's going on to CT, NFE on the Strike Zone. Make sure you subscribe to the Strike Zone. Very, very, that's family right there. Make sure you check out his channel and his pregame shows. Actually, he had Mr. Barros on his pregame the other day. I was able to sneak in on at work. It was awesome. Lou, what's going on? John Beagle Dad, Frederick, True Cowboy, welcome to the chat. Medina, Nosebleed. I didn't see Jonathan in the comments yet. Jonathan, you there? But Ken, what's going on, Ken? You got a lot of people hanging out with us this morning. I saw we have Bertie Williams earlier. As always, we know we have Joan, Raziel the Great, Dev. Who else is hanging out with us? Stephen B. I should have known. Good morning to all of you, and thanks for spending the day with us. Is last night one of those? I know we try to say, sometimes you just got to tip your cap to the opponent, and it's just something that we say to try to have the loss feel better. But I think last night is actually one of those. Because Seth Lugo is a Cy Young contender. The Royals are a playoff team, just like we are. So I think this is just one of those. It was just their day yesterday. Because Seth Lugo I got to say, he pitched phenomenal. That was a great outing from Seth Lugo, who's having a career year. So going into that game, I did expect it to be kind of like a dogfight. And Seth Lugo came out on top. What's going on, Izzy? I see you sneaking in. But what was your takeaway from last night's game?
I largely agree with you. The only things that really stood out to me was once again Mark Leiter is an absolute atrocity. One of the worst trade acquisitions Cashman's made in a long time. Yeah. Right up there with Andrew Heaney and these other ones. But Mark Leiter is almost impressively bad. Like it's almost impressive. Tim Meza, once again, like why is he here? He's also pretty bad. There was a reason why he got DFA'd. So I don't know what the Yankees thought they were getting with Tim Meza. So those are the only thing that I could really criticize. The other thing I could criticize is the fact that none of them did anything apart from Gleyber Torres. They didn't draw any walks. There was no extra base hits. It was shocking. It was shocking. Shocking, awful performance offensively. However, to be honest, I was unmoved. I didn't really. There are some losses where you're furious and you're like, "This is unacceptable." Blah blah blah. But yesterday wasn't one of them.
Yeah, it was emotionless.
It was just like, you know what? You tip your cap. Lugo was amazing, and I love Salvador Perez. He's absolutely amazing, and Bobby Witt is absolutely amazing. If you're looking at Seth Lugo, he gave you 7 innings, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts, shutout, no walks. It was one of the best pitching performances against the Yankees this whole year. So you just respect. I absolutely respect it. Excellent job. He's phenomenal. Can't argue it. It was a good lineup yesterday. Can't argue the lineup. He just was better, and that's what you tip your cap to. You win the rubber game, and we win 2 out of 3 against an excellent Royals team. I love this Royals team, and if the Yankees face this Royals team, I would be very concerned about the Yankees' chances of winning a series because with their pitching now, with Lugo, they got some decent arms there. Bubic and Schreiber in the bullpen. You got Salvador Perez, Bobby Witt, Tommy Pham, all decent players. Bobby Witt's one of the best players in the game now. So all that argument about Gunnar Henderson and Anthony Volpe is kind of irrelevant because Bobby Witt's better than all 3 of them, in my opinion.
Now Bobby Witt, him I would take.
He's on another level. Bobby Witt's on another level. He is absolutely electric. So actually, you know what? I really enjoy watching that Royals team. That's a fun team to watch, man. They're a good team. They play the game the right way. Good pitching, good offense, well managed. They don't try and piss their fan bases off. You know what? The Yankees could learn from them.
Right? Put the bubble gum away and start taking some notes, Boone, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Lou, Donald made that comment because of a debate we had at the end of the last show. If you didn't catch it, make sure you do so. It's kind of entertaining.
Yes, Lou. The context was Tat said that he would take Volpe over Gunnar Henderson, and me and him locked horns
a little bit
for the last 5 minutes as I mocked that.
It's all in fun. Now, I do want to say that in regards to Salvador Perez, excuse you. In regards to Salvador Perez,
is that your dog?
I think he's an extremely underrated player in the league.
What does your dog think about the debate between Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson and Anthony Volpe?
Yeah, she was kind of nudging me all day after the show. Like,
like,
what are you thinking?
Listen to your dog. This
is what happens when you talk too much. You will start, you don't know when to just let the point go. Which I will say, it is a very big flaw of mine. Because on the other chair is her squeak toy that I put up there to out of reach, but she decided to climb on the chair to kind of grab it.
So that's what that squeaky noise is, right?
Yep. So, but no, I think Salvador Perez is extremely underrated. Slow down, Uncle Tats. You're right. What's going on? Bernie Williams in the building, but it's just one of those. It was an emotionless game yesterday. It didn't move the needle either way, but the Royals are a respectable team. That's why I'm saying it's just one of those. They got us. It's just now we got to play another rubber game, another rubber match for the Yankees. It seems like that's the way they like to do it lately. But I kind of feel bad for Stroman because he wasn't terrible. He really wasn't.
He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great either.
Yeah, it was, like I said, very, very blah game. Because I know they're all getting on him about the runs being put up, but when you get shut out, I've said this and I believe it. When your offense gets shut down, you can't blame the pitching.
Oh yeah, there's nothing we could.
Yeah, unless we got blown out 15-0, it's like, all right, can you stop the bleeding a little bit to give us a chance? Because the Yankees did have a chance to turn that game around, once the bullpen came in, but their bullpen, it was just legitimate. But tonight we have Hill on the mound, and that's the best thing about baseball. Momentum stops with the next pitcher. So we're going to get a chance to see Hill. I want to see if he could follow up his previous outing, because I want to see if he can really just keep getting us, get himself back on track, because he's another one that's having a phenomenal rookie year. So what are our expectations with tonight's game?
Well, we face a lefty on the mound, and
great.
that's not exactly good news for us. It's far from good news from us, because historically we just do terribly against lefty pitching, and this Royal team's legit, man. They're 80-66. They've almost got a similar record than we do. If we face the Royals in the playoffs, I don't fancy it. I'll be honest. I really don't fancy it.
No.
They've got pitching and they can hit. Salvador Perez is basically impossible to get out at the moment, this series.
Yeah.
So, but that's looking ahead. Hopefully we avoid them. but no, as for the rubber match, we have to face a lefty. So Luis Gil has to go and absolutely shove on the mound. That's imperative.
Yeah, and we have the hitting. I'm not worried about the hitting. It's hitting against a lefty pitcher like that. That's our problem. I don't know why they could pull a lefty off the street, put him in a uniform on the mound, and the Yankees aren't going to hit him. That is painfully annoying. Like, that happens over and over and over again. You could bring somebody in, 60 years old, lefty, put him on the mound. He's gonna have the game of his life against the Yankees. It's one of those that just doesn't make any sense.
I wish that wasn't accurate, but that is pretty accurate.
Yeah,
pretty accurate. But Reagan's is good. Reagan's is good. Cool Reagan's. He's young. He's only 26 years old. He's had such a good year.
Yeah.
He's already got over 200 strikeouts this year in 167 innings. So that doesn't bode well for us. And he's got an ERA of 3.30. That doesn't bode well for us either. He's been really consistent all year long. So in his last start against Minnesota, he didn't give up a run. At 7 Ks. In the start before that against the Astros, he had 10 Ks. So he's a legit pitcher, man. He's 4-2 over his last 7 starts. So he's legit. He's legit, and the Yankees will have to do well, but they haven't hit much at all. Apart from that one game to start the Royals series, they haven't really hit in about a week. So, not overly optimistic.
Yeah, what's going on, Jared? The middle of the order really has to get their shit together. You said Soto's getting a reprieve for now because of the season he's had. Same thing with Soto. The one guy that's got to get back on track and seeing the ball better has got to be Stanton. Because I think that's another one of those. If he's going, everything else falls into place. Um, Stanton's just one of those guys. It's either hit or miss. It's literally. Um, but his hot streak that he came back with was too short lived. He only, usually we could get a week or two out of him. He only had a series. So Stanton's got to step it up too.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not asking anything from Stanton. Stanton's been awesome this year. We know who he is. This is who he is. He's a hot and cold guy. That's it. There's other positions to focus on. Stanton. This is what happens to Stanton. He goes through these little stretches, but overall, he's been really good. And he's been unlucky as well because there was a couple of occasions where he had a grand slam taken from him and a shot caught over the wall. So I don't think he's an issue.
No, well, I'm not saying he's an issue. I just wanted. I was hoping that the stretch would have lasted more than a series. In regards with Stanton, but as long as Wells is going to do his thing, and that's the other thing. Wells had a terrible game behind the plate yesterday. Got run on. But it's one game. It is what it is. I was hoping, Wells can't do it all every night.
He did the game before where he basically carried the win.
Well, hey, that was the way the game played out. Wanted to throw that out real quick. But I give him him I'm not worried about. Wells, I don't care. Wells
I mean, to be honest, spoiler alert, unless something crazy happens in this game, Austin Wells is getting the MVP of the series.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, right now, yes.
Only one to show
he's
it up.
Definitely leading that. Well, the other guy that could be in the award situation in the top, whether it's MVP or low key, could be Torres with his 11 game hit streak. He's actually put together some really good at bats.
2 singles, I'll give him that. But I mean
that pop up he dropped was kind of rough.
It's all about Wells, man. 2 home runs, just carrying the offense for a while. He's the man.
Wells has been the offense.
He is the fucking offense. He is the man.
And that is that the way that Torres has been hitting and Wells. When you're seeing guys like Stanton, like Soto and Judge kind of struggling a little bit, that kind of makes the little mini slump that they got look even worse.
Now that's something to talk about. Yeah, these guys haven't hit. They're both in a slump. And that's why we don't generate any runs. The entire offense is basically those 2 guys. Right, with a little bit of Jazz, a little bit of Stanton, and Wells sprinkled in. That's it. That's your offense. So unless Soto and Judge wake up fast, then this offense isn't going to do shit in the playoffs. So, but they will. They'll turn it around. I still think Judge is due before the season's out to go on a crazy run and get up to 60 again.
Yeah, no, it's like I said the other day. Let him get this out of the way now and get hot again, backing up. As we get into October, rather than keep going to the end of the year and then fade out when we need him the most. So get it out of the way now. Soto too.
But I'll tell you what, Judge in center field hasn't been good. It's just not been an issue because he's been that good offensively, but. I believe he's a -6 defensive run saved for the position. He's struggled in center field. There's been a lot of balls that have dropped in front of him, and he's an incredible right fielder, and that's something that the Yankees might need to look at. Jones says Judge playing center field is actually killing him. Yeah, I'm not. Don nailing it. Thank you, my man. That's something that we need to consider, like how they're going to work this, especially if they extend Aaron Judge. Where is Aaron Judge going to Juan Soto? I should say extend Juan Soto. Where's Aaron Judge going to fit in this scenario as to where they should play him? Dominguez is a center fielder. He's not a great left fielder. Soto is a okay right fielder, not a great left fielder. Aaron Judge is not a good center fielder, but a great right fielder. So that's something for the Yankees to think about in the offseason. But as for right now, how would you align this? Because we want Stanton as a DH. That's a fact, right? We want him to get DH Reds. Dominguez is better in center field. Judge is better in right field. Soto is better in right field. How do we make this work? Let's ask Tats and let's ask the people in the chat.
Yeah, no, I think I know he's got the minus DRS and all that shit, but I'd rather him kind of mail it in, but I don't want him over exhausting himself, this late in the season. Because if he gets hurt, we're screwed. But I do want to also point out that he's had his best offensive years as a center fielder, where he was playing there the most. So it's hard to say that he can't play center field. I just don't know if he's just in his own head or doing his best to make sure that he doesn't pull anything, doesn't overstretch. I don't know if I don't want to say lazy, but I think he's just trying to be overcautious.
What's happening? What, you calling him lazy? What?
I said I'm not going to call him lazy. I think he's just being cautious with his body this late in the season.
Right, that's a better word choice.
Yeah.
But center field isn't the best for that because it's a massive center field that he has to track.
Well, that's why it's a no-win situation for him.
So that's why I think he's better in right field. I think he needs to be playing right field. So I would consider asking Juan Soto to move over to the left.
I was just going to say, Soto in left, Judge back in right, and Dominguez in center
every day.
I think that's really the alignment they should go with, and I don't think either player, Soto or Judge, are gonna throw a temper tantrum about a position change. I really don't.
It's just
I think they understand the big picture.
It's just doing it this late in the season might have an adverse effect. But Nosebleed says here Soto and left, Dominguez center, Judge and right. I think if you're looking at pure defense rather than like the human beings involved, that's probably the best alignment. But will Soto be all right with that? Because he's actually played pretty well in right field. Not lately, but overall, he's Soto's actually been good. Isn't he amongst the league leaders in assists, throwing guys out from right field. He's had a very strong year in that regard, but metrics aren't great. No, actually pretty good. Metrics aren't good for Judge though.
Yeah.
Medina's right. Soto is having his best year as a right fielder. So, maybe that would have an adverse effect on him moving him. I don't know. It's something to consider because, you want your best defensive alignment out there. So, Regil says Soto's young. He's not even 26. Play his ass in left field. Yeah. I think the best alignment would be Judge in right field. You can get Aaron Judge back to his best. And he doesn't have to roam around too much over there.
Yep.
Save his legs a little. Soto can play left. Dominguez center field. I think that's the best alignment.
You put your youngest guys in left and center.
Exactly. But would that have an adverse effect because we're in September?
That's what I'm saying. That's where it could get a little tricky. But but the reason I would do it, because I do believe that Soto and Judge are professional enough and they'll understand the big picture of it. I don't think they'll have a big, it's just a matter of how it translates to their play. I think that's really where the question could come in. But and from what TC said earlier, what's going on, TC? what TC said earlier. It's about having your best lineup in October.
That's right.
That's all I care about. If a bull drops in front of them, it's. I want him hustling though. It's like I want him going balls out to do everything he can for this team to win and put him in a position to win. But you don't want him getting hurt at the same time. And I think that's where it's not that we're concerned, we're worried about Judge. I think there's a concern because of his injury history. His injuries come from him laying himself out on the field and going all out. It's not due to it's all freak injuries for him. So I think that's where it's like I'm not really paying attention to what the DRS is or anything like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, if he says here, I would make that switch right now personally, and that makes a lot of sense. That might be something to consider in the off season if they extend. I brought that up not necessarily for the playoffs, but for the long term, because I don't believe Judge should be your long term center fielder if you want to protect his legs. But that's something to consider moving forward. I think they'll probably just play it out as it is. I mean, Judge hasn't been a disaster over there or anything like that. It's not like they have Aaron Hicks out there or anything. He's still solid. It's just metrics aren't great. But then by moving Judge, you might be causing a bigger problem than it's worth, because then you might piss off Soto because he's having a good year in right, and he's not very good in left. Judge is not good in left field, so you can't move him there. So there are things to consider. It's not the most flexible situation. That is something to consider because neither of them have been great in the outfield lately.
Yeah, Acevedo, I know a couple of people have commented about him. Judge can handle left field, but the issue with that is there's a lot, like Donald said a few minutes ago, there's a lot of ground to cover in left. Left and center, there's a lot of field.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Put your younger guys in left and center and let Judge, and not that Judge is old, but he is the oldest of the three. Put him in right because you got to preserve those legs. You can't afford to risk losing anybody, not even just Judge, anybody on this roster. You have to keep them healthy for October because one player goes down, we're screwed. One player goes down, we're screwed. Even if Rizzo went down, because it's not like we have a legitimate backup first baseman. Rice. Let's see how he adjusts for next year. They're gonna have Cabrera. Now, I'm a Cabrera fan. I think he can handle it, but if he had to be an everyday first baseman, that would worry me.
Yeah, that's another whole minefield that we have to break down. But let's stick with Judge and Soto for now. Yeah, we're having a little quiet stretch, and that's why the Yankees offensively are going to stretch. But it'll come around. The two of them, there's absolutely no chance that they're not going to be absolutely firing. Probably within the next couple of days. Heck, it could even start tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be ideal, Mr. Barrows, to just get rid of Stanton, put Judge at DH, and then have Soto, Dominguez, and Jazz in the outfield.
Did you say it'd be ideal to get rid of Stanton?
That's what Mr. Barrows said.
No, but you just said I agree. It would be ideal to get rid of Stanton. Why would it be ideal to get rid of Stanton?
No, because I meant to say idea. The idea of getting
that would be ideal, but it's certainly not ideal. You don't want to get rid of Stanton. He's been our, I would say, without question, our third best hitter.
Yeah, and it also the other name that came up was fucking
Jared's already calling you out, Tats. Tats, his big mouth gets him in trouble again.
Every show. Like I said earlier, sometimes I just don't know when to just shut up. But no, it also makes you wonder what they're going to do with Jones. That was the other name, but that's for next year. All right. Well, believe me, we're going to have all off season to figure out how we're going to get Jones into everything. You're right, You're right, CT. Absolutely. No,
See what I have to put up with, guys. Oh.
For 5 years, he's had to put up with this. That's why you have to hit that subscribe button. Show some love for Donald for having to put up with me all the time. Don't even worry about me. I sympathize with Donald. Put up with this bullshit. But no, I think they're just going to leave everything the way it is. I'm not. They're not going to make the adjustment this late in the season. Last month, if they would have done it, I think there would have been time for everything to adjust properly. There's just not enough days on the calendar to start really messing around with defensive alignment.
No, that's right. That's right. I agree with that. It's probably too late in the day to mix around that. But hey, the Yankees aren't immune to that because they did it with Gleyber Torres. Remember where they gaslit us for 5 months that Gleyber Torres was the best shortstop in the game, and then they moved him in the last minute. And then what did they do with IKF? Gaslit us. They used the best shortstop in the game, and then in September moved him in the last minute. So anything's possible with these Yankees.
Well, where this time is different is Judge is the captain.
Yeah.
And you don't want to upset Soto in any way. Because right now you're still courting him for next season. So it does have to be handled very carefully. But that's not to say that we're saying that they both get a pass for anything. We'll give them a little bit of a reprieve with the slug because of what they've done this year. But if this really continues into October, then we're going to have to take a deeper dive into this.
All right, let's see what Acevedo's got to say here. This will be interesting. Playoff lineup should be, is this the order that you want it to be, Acevedo? Torres leading off, Dominguez batting second, Soto batting third, Judge batting fourth, Wells batting fifth, Stanton batting sixth, Jazz down batting seventh, Rizzo, Volpe. I'm certainly not having Dominguez batting second.
No.
Definitely not. Soto's been batting second all year long and having a career year. Aaron Judge has been batting third and having an incredible year. So I'm not messing that. I'm not giving the most at bats to Torres and Dominguez. That's not happening. You want the majority of your at bats going to Soto and Judge. So you move them up in the order. So Torres, Soto, Judge, yes. Wells, yes. Stanton, yes. Then Dominguez. Yeah. Then Jazz. Then you finish it off with Rizzo and Volpe. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I like Torres at leadoff. I think he's very comfortable there. Dominguez, where he's in the lineup, I want to see where it goes as the season goes, as he gets more gameplay. Let him get let him get the feel for the major leagues back before you put him in the top of the order. Right. I think that's just batting him second in the playoffs after only a couple of games. I think it's just a little premature. So when Dominguez is in the lineup, that's to be determined.
Don't say that around Uncle Tats, Jared.
Won't be shouldn't talk about it all. The kid's so useless. You should go. Jared, you're killing me, bro. Killing me. And CT, you are absolutely right. This chat has been on fire today, and we love it just as well. Yeah, you better be kidding.
Hit that like button, everybody.
It's going to be interesting at end of the year. Here's what makes today's game so important. You have to keep Baltimore behind you. That's the goal. It's not about winning 100 games. I'm not even worried about best record in the AL. The only thing I want going into this last stretch of the year is keep Baltimore behind you in the standings, win the division. That's all I care about, and then let everything else fall into where it goes. Um, that's, and I don't think that's asking a lot. Um, it's just a matter of execution, and it's going to come down to how quick Soto and Judge come out of this. Can Torres keep it up? Wells, he's fine.
He's fine. He's better than fine. He's like
Yeah,
rookie of the year.
There's nothing to critique on Wells. There's, I do want to see Stanton get have a little more success at the plate, but he's another one. When that hot streak comes, just step aside and enjoy it. We've seen that movie so many times. Dominguez needs to get going now, and I know, and he will. He's gonna go on. He's gonna pick up where he left off.
He's only been here like 3 days.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. But I want to know. I want to see how he's progressing because I want to know where he's going to fit in the lineup. That's what I'm looking for. Where's he going to fit? Is he getting on base and running like hell? Then maybe you put him in the leadoff spot, or you put him in the as the ninth hitter, and have him be your secondary leadoff guy. That's where I'm trying to figure it out. Where does he go?
I mean, as long as he plays every day, I'm not overly concerned. He's not going to be leading off. I don't see that as something. I think he's fine where he is. He had a hit in his first day. Back up, game 1, game 2, no one hit. So, it's only been 2-game sample size, apart from when the Yankees made him the 27th man, as I've mentioned a million times, against Eric Skubal. So I don't. I think it would be unfair to suggest that he needs to get going. I think he's just got up. So you have to be a little patient here. But moving on to that little ditty, everyone in the chat, explain to me what changed in 72 hours, because Brian Cashman spent so long. He spent well over a week and a half trying to defend the indefensible. Oh, he's not going to do what Verdugo's doing. He's not ready. Once he's ready, he'll play every day. There's no lane for him. Verdugo gives us the best chance to win. Blah, blah, blah. Bish, bash, bosh. 48 hours later, Dominguez is up. So explain to me what happened. Like, is it like it's a series? It's like 24 or Lost, where like 2 days with the Yankees is like 3 months. Now, what is going on? How did something change so rapidly between a weekend to Monday? Oh no, he's ready. He wasn't ready Friday or Saturday, but he sure is hell ready Monday. That's why I don't buy their shit. And nor should you. None of you guys should buy their shit, because they are really bad car salesmen. Cashman and Boone are the worst car salesmen ever. Honestly. They'll have you convincing that they've bought you that you've got a Porsche, and then you jump in it and it falls apart in a heartbeat, because they are full of shit. That's what they are. They're just full of shit. That's what they are. Dominguez should have been up weeks ago. So that's it. And that's what's so infuriating about it, was that Cashman was more worried about protecting his ass than actually just calling up Dominguez weeks ago. That's what he was more concerned about, because he wanted to defend the indefensible. So he went to that next step that he didn't need to take, where he was like, Dominguez isn't ready, where he is, because apparently he is, because he's here up now every day. Oh, and, he doesn't give us the best chance to win. So you're attacking your star prospect to protect Verdugo. That's why all this was bullshit. And then what? The Yankees getting completely shut out for a couple of days, and then magically Dominguez is ready. That's why it was all nonsense. I guarantee that Cashman's shallow and fragile ego saw what was going on X, saw that media members who usually back him up, like Brian Hoke and these dudes, were criticizing him. And then, you probably seeing that Michael Kay, who's usually sticks by the yes word of the day, and he was going after him. And normal, I think Jack Curry, these dudes are going after him. That suddenly he was like, oh, maybe I don't look so good now. So it's all about PR with him. And then here we go. Dominguez is up. Now I'm happy Dominguez is up, but I'm not happy that it took 2 weeks of nonsense for the Yankees to realize that they were full of shit in the first place. But that's what Cashman and Boone are. They are full of shit. I'm saying it plain and obvious for you guys. That's just the truth. Both of them are full of shit. They always have been.
Yeah, no, I think, and I'm in agreement with Medina and Steven, and a couple of the others. I think Hal stepped in and was like, "Did you just say what you think you said? Have you been watching this game?" And I think Hal stepped in to get him up.
Do you think so?
I do. Hal, obviously, there's no way to prove it. It's not like Hal. It's not like Hal came out and says, we're going to put our best team forward." And then he got called in. I don't know about that. Let's not get carried away now, TC.
God, I take Brian Cashman over LI every day.
But it's really Cashman's got to stop putting his foot in his fucking mouth.
Well, that's it.
No, I'm agreeing with you. We're allowed to agree for once in a while.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things that Brian Cashman says which he never needs to say. Yeah. Like when he was asked to justify making the Josh Donaldson trade. Do you know what I'm saying? Where he has to feel the need where he had to attack Gio Urshela.
Well, like me. He's got
we like Gio, but he's not Josh Donaldson. Yeah, he's not Josh Donaldson. So you didn't need to take that next step to be insulting. And that's what he does in order to defend himself. He does that a lot. He had to apologize personally to Marcus Stroman because he had to attack him in order to defend himself a couple of years ago when he didn't acquire Stroman. He does these things, Cashman, where instead of just maybe admitting he was wrong or admitting culpability or just being straightforward, he has to take that next step. And that's what he did with Dominguez, which pissed me off so much. You could say, we're sticking with Verdugo for now, but Dominguez, believe me, he's so exciting. We can't wait to have him. He could have said that, but he didn't. He was like, Dominguez isn't ready. If he was ready, he'd be playing every day. So you're basically saying that he couldn't produce what Verdugo's producing. So anyone who reads between the lines could see what Cashman was saying. And that's why it's total shit. And that's why Cashman has been a problem. He does have a big fucking mouth. And yet, his big mouth got him a little bit in trouble with Giancarlo Stanton in the offseason. So he has a bit of a mouth on him, Cashman. And it verges on unprofessional. And this whole past week or two is vintage Cashman unprofessional. And it's up to us as a fan base and people in the chat and us as a podcast to call shit. Because it works. It did. It worked. The fact that Yankee fans were that pissed off with the way that Dominguez is being treated, he's here magically. Magically, he was ready 3 days later. So trust me.
that's what really that's like the cherry on top of the season for fucking Cashman. But no, Cashman's got the same problem I do. He doesn't know when to just cut the talking point. Don't over exaggerate, because that's when he gets himself into trouble. He just has to keep going and going and going, and then we go, gotcha. That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. What did he do with Aaron Judge? When Aaron Judge was like, don't make my contract demands.
Oh yeah.
Don't make it public. Because I still want to be here. This is just a negotiation. Cashman's like, no problem, Aaron.
But
Walks out, announces it to the entire world to try and
Yeah.
make it look like Brian Cashman's a good guy. So, honestly, guys, Brian Cashman is full of shit. He's just a car salesman. That's what he is. He might be a talented one because he's been here for such a long time. He can't get by this long without having some talent. But a lot of it is bullshit, and there's a reason why a lot of Yankee legends hate him, and that includes Derek Jeter. So I don't buy him. I don't trust his shit. I really
No,
don't.
another big lie from Cashman, or an exaggeration from Cashman, because his name came up, you brought his name up a little earlier with Peraza. I'm a Volpe and Peraza, the infield of the future.
Fact.
Rather than just saying we see a future with Peraza and Volpe. That little word switch curbs the expectations. But it's almost like he made a vow to say these two guys are going to be in there, and then only one came, and they kept fucking around with Peraza.
That one's on Cashman.
That's why we don't trust anything Cashman says.
No.
And then, unfortunately, in this aspect, Boone's got to cover for him.
That's why he was
at least Boone came out and says, no, if he's being called up.
Yeah, Rob, exactly. That was actually Hal that said that.
Was that Hal?
Never said that, yeah.
It sounds like a Cashman said.
No, that's what I actually thought that you meant. No. Hal was the one that said that. Cashman had no intention of doing that, as you can see.
There I go again. No, I lost my point. Go ahead, Donald.
Well, that's it. So all I'm saying is Brian Cashman is full of shit. He has been for a long time. And that was kind of annoying for me, because on a day where we should all be very, very excited that the new era has started with Dominguez, it was almost tarnished a little bit because Brian Cashman made such a freaking fool of himself and kind of indirectly criticized Dominguez just to defend himself the week prior, that he couldn't do what Verdugo's doing, which was well below average. That's why it was insulting as a fan base. It's like insulting. It's insulting to watch that. So when Rob texts me saying Dominguez is up, I should have been like, yes, the new era has started. But my first reply was, what a bunch of fucking clowns. That was my first reply. What a bunch of fucking clowns. Because for the last week and a half, I've had to listen to Brian Cashman defend the indefensible. And that's why I call shit for shit. And I always do. It's just, I will always be honest. That whole past weekend of nonsense was all because of Brian Cashman's ego. Because nothing changed between Friday and Monday that would stop Dominguez being ready. Apparently he wasn't ready Friday. Apparently he's ready Monday. A lot of that is bullshit. He was ready all along. It was all about service time, manipulating service time, and that's what it was about. And defending Verdugo. That's what it was all about. So that's really, it's as simple as that. And that's why it tarnished a little bit of it. But I'm very excited about Dominguez. He's going to be the future. He is legit. He's incredible. I loved that he had a post that he's like, I don't want to be referred to as the future. I want to be the present. I'm very excited about Dominguez. He's got the attitude that he deserves to be here. He does deserve to be here. He should have been here weeks and weeks ago. So it's not that I'm negative about Dominguez calling up. I'm very much negative about the way the organization treated him, because it was completely and utterly unacceptable. acceptable. Let's finish on that. But let's get Ken's point here. The Yankees doing anything to commemorate the 9/11 attacks at the game today. Maybe
I
that's a nice
believe
way
they
to
did.
end this episode. Because me and Tats, we and Rob, we actually did an interview with our radio station host once a couple of years ago, talking about the relevance of 9/11 and the Yankees during that time, and it was quite
It was
it
remarkable.
was a really good interview. Tats, give me your thoughts about your 9/11, the legacy, and what the Yankees did at the time in a
Um,
difficult time for our city.
believe me, it was a difficult time for the country.
Yeah,
And I think the biggest thing about today is it's about people that were lost. It's not a it's not a day for politics. It's a day for just being an American.
yep.
Uh, no, the city. I don't think will ever anyone that was there and remembers will never be the same. And we try to do our best day by day every year. Um, and I know that sometimes things get lost as years go on. This is one of those where it can't be. Same thing with like Pearl Harbor Day. These are really dark days of our history that really need to remain in the forefront of our minds because it wasn't. Um, they didn't care what your race, religion, creed, your politics were. Everybody was under attack that day. Um, Americans were attacked, not anything else. So it's definitely something that needs to be honored and memorialized every year. Um, so I've spoken about it multiple times. I was not far from where I was not far from the towers. Thankfully, I was able to get out of Manhattan, but no, it's still in my head. It'll never go away.
Of course not.
I can still hear it. I can still see people running, jumping on my car to get over the bridge.
Oh
Um,
my god.
yeah, it was panic. Everybody was panicked. I had just gotten over the Brooklyn Bridge onto Canal Street when the first plane hit,
Oh my
and I was able to get everything just kind of like turned around, and I was able to get before they shut everything down, get back into Brooklyn. But it was it sucked.
So you were living in Brooklyn at the time, no Long
I
Island.
was still living in Brooklyn, yeah.
Right.
I moved out of Brooklyn a couple years after that. So it still gets me a little choked, but it's you can't forget that. And every as the years go on, the story actually gets harder to tell, not because of memory. It's reliving such a terrible day.
And there's a lot of first responders who were so brave at the time that saved lives, helped rebuild a city that are dealing with the ramifications to this day with cancer uh, and so we, I have unwavering support for the NYPD, NYFD, and first responders and everyone that was brave to run into such a burning building to save people's lives and things like that. They're incredibly brave people, and you know, rest in peace to the people that passed. My recollection was I was in high school and it was like the towers have hit. The towers have been hit, and I ran home, and then we were trying to get in touch with my grandparents who lived in White Plains. They were fine, thank God. But the frightening frightening experience. But you know, there's such division in our country right now. And it's things like this that should remind us that we're all American and that we all. It doesn't matter what color skin you are, whether you're right or left. We're all American, and we all want the best for the people in the country, and that's why it's important to remember these things. And so, yeah, I do have uh, images of George W. throwing out the first pitch in the World Series and things like that. And I know that the Yankees worked incredibly hard during that time, as did the Mets.
Mike
To,
Piazza home run.
to help bring some positivity to the city. I think Mike Piazza hit a huge home run, and the Yankees World Series run that year was so important, not just for us as fans, but for a city that was just trying to rebuild, looking for something to get their mind off the tragedy that was in front of them. And our Yankees that year, making it to the World Series, kind of helped heal in some ways, I think, just in a small way. But God bless to everyone that was affected. And I still think about them every day. But there's a beautiful memorial down uh, in Ground Zero. Have you been to the
No,
memorial down there?
no, I've thought about it, but I never gone.
It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. And yeah, salute to them. Thank you, man.
All right. So with that, we are going to close it out with this. All right. That day must have, yes, absolutely tragic. But you also have to remember the unity it brought afterwards, the
Yep.
aftermath of it. We had every neighbor, every stranger looking out for everybody, helping out. This country can be that again. I really believe that. Um, they say, united we stand, divided we fall. That is an absolute fact. So with that, make sure you hit the like button, hit the sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the stranger on the corner. This has been a great show. Great show. Great
Really
chat
good.
with everybody. I will be going on vacation. Um, I'll be going out of town. I might try to sneak in. Um, I still want to try to get an after dark show in this week, but my work schedule has just been crazy. So I do apologize to everybody that was looking forward to that. I do want to try to get one in before I leave. So just hit that notification bell just in case it's a last minute thing. We could all have a little fun. So make sure you do that. So, as I always like to say, let us pinch our pride and play hard.